Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Professor Norman Cornett, religious studies scholar, art critic, and curator with the artist Sekai and his creation entitled The Spark. This is acrylic on masonite with his own framing in wood. The work stands out for a number of reasons. When I look at this, I think immediately of Rorschach images. I think of Gestalt psychology. It's as though Sekai has mapped the mind. How would you respond to that?
First of all, you compliment me by saying map the mind. Yes, I think in the piece I am talking about the beginning of creation. The beginning of, as you said, in a Rorschach type of form, looking within and finding the expression of creating something, which is what the universe does in itself, creating energy.
What also intrigues me, Sekai, is in The Spark, unlike many other of your works, we are not in subtle colors. There's nothing pastel about this. There is no ambiguity, no equivocation. This is very, not just The Spark, it is stark. And the impact of these colors is non-negotiable. That seems very unique in your body of work.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I say, it's a point in growth and development as an artist. You begin to experiment and discover your own particular calligraphy in doing things, and it explodes, and you follow it till its final completion.
And you have employed a number of instruments to create The Spark. You've employed spatula, you've employed brush, you've employed direct application from the tube to the picture plane. It's not unlike the dripping of the pioneering painter Jackson Pollock.
Thank you. It's funny, this past year I've spent the summer learning about Jackson Pollock and his work, and I wish I had the space to work in to create like that. And I know many artists do, but if you're in a restrained environment, you do the best you can with what you have. And that's what painting is all about. Art can be created with many different instruments.
And again, getting back to your creative vision and artistic development, this work has a rawness to it that seems to set it apart, as though you wanted to give yourself the license, the freedom, the liberty to go wherever it took you.
Yes. As an artist, again, I think that's another area that some people are very fearful of going in. It's just going into the darkness and discovering what can come out of it. And I think that you have to be very strong to do that and come back out with something that is satisfying.
Very often in your work, Sekai, I sense you, the artist, as a mediator, mediating opposites, mediating polarities, mediating contradictions or ironies. And yet here, the work is so, as New Yorkers would say, in your face.
Okay. I've never been to New York yet in this lifetime, and but it's a compliment to see that my work touches other areas that are being explored by artists in other places. There again, when you look at the beginning of 20th century art, all those artists brought to us the courage to go and create and find what our voice is.
But in the spark, Sekai, you give no quarter. This is straight up. There is almost, I have a sense of a David Cronenberg film, Crash.
Okay. Well, yes, it is stark. And sometimes you have to show that aspect of your life, or just to express it. And yes, and still find a grounding, but still being able to go in there from time to time and bring out this rawness in your life. It's interesting using very, very primary colors and seeing what they can tell you about life. Red can be a sense of somebody having an accident or something like that. But in the process, and life black and white, well, that is almost from primal time, the energy coming out. And man is often very violent. The yellow is using our wisdom to go beyond and understand and put light into life.
And speaking of wisdom, Sekai, you are a Buddhist practicing your faith. I've often thought of you as someone who's seeking the middle way, who's seeking reconciliation. And yet this work is so strong. Is it a matter of challenging us with the contradictions of life?
Challenging ourselves. I think that you are always challenging yourself, no matter what age you get to. When you're very young, life is very difficult to fathom. As you get older, we have to find ways, as you said, the middle path, not to be too extremes, and to try and walk that middle path, keeping energy contained. But this is still the primal energy in our life.
There is an expression that I employ, and I very much thank the LGBTQ community for what I learned from them challenging me not to think in binary terms of right and wrong, good and bad, black and white, male and female. What I call false dichotomies. I see you as navigating a path that wants to make us reflect about binarity, about false dichotomy.
That's an interesting way of looking at it. I think it's very important in life that we do not get caught up in the sense of right and wrong. Right and wrong, all of us have within us. It's how we utilize those energies, how we express ourselves. And there's nothing wrong in expressing your male or expressing your female, and it may be in the same body.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to discover what I refer to as the holistic aesthetic of Sekai, I invite you to look at his blog spot, Sekai, and I'll spell that Sekai.wordpress.com.